Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good people. It is Monday, November the 1st, 2021. This is Wake Up with Ray G. I'm feeling good today. We just coming off of a fantastic win last night where nobody gave my Dallas Cowboys a shot. We got it done with Cooper Rush on the road in Minnesota. Let's go, baby. Jay, did you watch those Cowboys last night, big dog?
I didn't. I got to be honest, man. I didn't make it that far into the night. I was tired. But if I recall, though, I was the one, it was the one that gave your Cowboys a chance. It was you, actually, who said if Cooper Rush plays, the Cowboys have no shot. Cooper Rush is awful. I didn't want to run back the tape on you.
I didn't say that.
He had a fantastic game, man. He played so well. I watched it back this morning because I had some time in the morning getting ready for the show. Dude played fantastic that final drive. I don't know if you heard the story that Cooper told at the presser talking about how CD tried to get the play flipped, so he had the fade and scored the touchdown. Cooper said, nah, I got this. Obviously walked it off, or almost walked it off. Great performance by the Dallas Cowboys last night.
Yeah, man, and we'll get into that game. It'll be the first NFL game we get to. But real quick, man, did you do anything for Halloween yesterday? Do you celebrate? Not everybody celebrates Halloween, so just got to ask that question politically. Just got to be fair to everyone. Did you go out? Did you do anything? Did you celebrate? Did you get a lot of candy? What'd you do? Because I know you got a sweet tooth. I know you got a sweet tooth.
I do have a sweet tooth, but I just ate the leftovers from the house. I didn't go out trick-or-treating. A little bit too old for that now, but maybe one day I'll get back out there and get some candy.
I did. I was out trick-or-treating. We were the PJ Masks. I was Romeo, the evil villain, and my two kids, one of them was Catboy, the other one was Gecko. My wife was Owlette, so we were all like the PJ Mask family, man. So I had to do the dad thing, had to get out there and trick-or-treat with the kids, but good to see you. And, dude, we're already in November. 2021 is flying by, man. Like, literally, this is it. Like, Christmas time, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and then it's 2022. And before you know it, we'll be arguing about who's the quarterback 1, the running back 3, the wide receiver 7. We'll be doing that song and dance all over again, and we'll be on Deshaun Watson watch. I'm assuming that's what we're headed for, right?
Yeah, man, I definitely agree with that. Excited for all the draft talk, but for now, while we have a season, so excited for that. Obviously, the college slate this weekend was crazy. Pumped to get into that. So let's enjoy what we got. It is November, but still lots of football left to be played.
Yeah, man. So we appreciate everybody tapping in from all over the world. I mean, people hit us up all the time from Germany, Australia, Brazil, Canada, here in the U.S. Appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all subscribe to the Best TV YouTube channel. Also subscribe to the Wake Up with Ray G podcast. But as Jordan said, the college football slate was dope. We have got a lot of NFL games to review. So let's jump into the morning run.
Wake up! This is the morning run.
Run, Forrest, run!
All right, Jay. I just want to say that my Heisman pick, it's all but gone. Matt Corral is pretty much lost it because this man right here, Kenneth freaking Walker, Michigan State, comes back to beat Michigan 38-31. And I have not looked at the odds. Jay, so please let me know. But I would suspect that Kenneth Walker is probably second in the Heisman Trophy odds after his performance versus Michigan. 197 yards, 5 touchdowns on 23 carries. We talked about, the running back position being a bad bet for the Heisman, unless you're a running back on a team that's playing for a national championship, that's in national championship contention, and you're putting up ridiculous stats. This is what Kenneth Walker is doing. Unlike the Debbie Darling Bijan Robinson, which I've been saying from the jump was burnt money, he's actually producing like great numbers from the running back position. He leads the country in rushing, and after his 5 touchdown performance, where's Kenneth Walker sit? If I had to guess now, Alabama was off last week, so I'd say Bryce Young is still sitting at the top, maybe C.J. Stroud at 2, and then Kenneth Walker no later than 3. Where's he at, Jay?
He's actually tied with C.J. Stroud at 5-1. So I believe that Bryce Young is 4.5-1, and then Kenneth Walker and C.J. Stroud are tied at 5-1.
Yeah.
I'm not shocked. We talked about this. I think it was either a week ago or maybe it was even 2 weeks ago. We showed all the Heisman odds. We said who has a shot here, And I believe Kenneth Walker was still like 19-1, 20-1. And I said, this is the guy who has a shot because his team has a shot to go undefeated. And that's the reason why he's got a shot. But after this game, he's got a way better shot than I expected, because 5 touchdowns in a big game like this to beat Michigan, that's what puts you on the map. This is his Heisman moment. Unless he does something crazier at the end of the season, I don't know. But that's going to be his Heisman moment right here if it comes down to him versus someone else and he's still undefeated at the end of the season. That's going to be his Heisman moment. 5 touchdowns, most ever scored against Michigan. I think it was actually tied with someone, most rushing touchdowns against Michigan, but spectacular performance from Walker. And I'm just going to say I called it. I had the over and you had the under. So one of us got it right, which is good.
I mean, he's just incredible, man. He's incredible. The burst, the speed, we're seeing him flourish now that he's outside of Wake Forest. And he's improved his draft stock just as much as any other player in college football this year. Right now, comfortably inside my Tier 1 running back prospects, him, Breece Hall, and Isaiah Spiller, the top 3 guys. And, man, as the season progresses, man, this 2022 class is looking a hell of a lot better than a lot of people anticipated. I tweeted it out and was met with people were just quote tweeting me left and right saying the class is horrible, the quarterbacks stink. I think this class is actually shaping up to be a hell of a lot better than anybody anticipated. But Kenneth Walker, man, just a fantastic game, fantastic Heisman moment for him. Georgia beat down Florida 34-7. And it was like defense. I mean, they had a pick 6 return for a touchdown. Anthony Richardson, two interceptions. People were really excited about this young signal caller, and he goes in versus Georgia. It's in Gainesville, and they get just hammered, man. And I'm watching that game, and I'm just thinking, I don't know who can score on them. Like, I honestly, I think the best matchup, if I'm being real, the best matchup to see is Ohio State versus Georgia in the Natty. Like, that offense, Trevian Henderson, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, C.J. Stroud versus the immovable object, which is Georgia's defense. I think that would give us the best bang for our buck for a national championship game. I hope we get it. JT Daniels lost himself a lot of money because he's been replaced by a guy that walked on in Stetson Bennett. And Stetson Bennett didn't even play that well, but they got the job done. So good win for Georgia. Oklahoma 52, Texas 21. We talked about this game on Thursday. Caleb Williams goes off, Tell me where his Heisman odds are, because another 400 passing yards, 6 touchdowns for Caleb Williams. Spencer Rattler comes in relief of Caleb Williams and throws a touchdown bomb himself. But Caleb Williams looking like a star. And I'm telling you right now, for everybody watching that plays Dynasty Fantasy Football, start acquiring those 2024 picks. When you look across the board, Henderson, Caleb Williams, Devin Neal, Will Shipley. We're seeing these young freshman wide receivers produce. Raheem Sanders from Arkansas, running back. I mean, this class, this is another good-looking crop of young freshmen, and we haven't seen all the other quarterbacks get on the field. A little bit of Jackson Dart, no Drake May. I'm just telling you, 2024 is looking really, really legit. We talked about Ole Miss and my boy Matt Corral losing the Heisman. All these stats that we talked about, Ole Miss versus Auburn. I think they were 1-6 in the past 7 years. On the road versus Auburn, they don't play well, and they didn't. Matt Corral, 1 interception. He looked more like the 2020 version of Matt Corral. I think he had like 240 passing yards. I don't think he's 100% healthy, but they lose to Auburn 20-31, and that's it. Matt Corral will not win the Heisman, and now it's him jockeying for position for the quarterback 1, 2, 3. We'll see. Malik Willis had a hell of a game this past weekend. Carson Strong has been balling. Sam Howell quietly playing well. I know they lost to Notre Dame, but he's doing a good job as well. So that's it for my man Matt Corral. And that is also it for the best wide receiver in college football, Drake London. It is confirmed. Fractured ankle, fractured lower leg, ankle. I don't know if it's the Jalen Waddle injury, but Drake London had 9 receptions for 82 yards like in the first half before catching a touchdown pass where he inevitably was hurt. Finishes the season with 88 receptions. I believe he was close to 1,100 yards. And if you're asking me, I still think he deserves the Biletnikoff Award as the nation's best receiver. He was on a historic pace. Through 7 games, no player in college football history had caught more passes than Drake London. And you normally see that from some of these like Western Kentucky's, Washington State, where they just air raid it out. But this is not an air raid offense. It was the Drake London show, and he couldn't be stopped. Most dominant wide receiver in college football, the most like the most dominant stretch of wide receiver play that we've seen outside of Devonta Smith. And you talk about Devonta Smith, he had Jalen Waddle. He had a John Mechie on the other side of him. He had Najee Harris in the backfield. This UST team was Drake London or bust. His season is over, but I still have high hopes for him. I still think he's going to be a first-round pick. I still believe he's going to be a first-round pick. By all indications, he should be healthy enough to do a little something, maybe at a pro day. But I think what he put on wax this college football season is more than enough to get him drafted high in the NFL draft. If he was being projected, we saw mocks, right? Mocks of Drake London going top 10, number 8 overall, number 11 overall. If his draft stock slides a little bit, it goes from being a top 10, top 15 potential player to maybe in the 20s, maybe fall into 23rd overall, 25th overall, which wouldn't be bad because he's probably going to land on a really good team that needs that weaponry. So just a fantastic season for Drake London. Sucks that it went down like that, but stuff happens, man. The game of football is brutal. Man, speaking of injuries and people no longer playing, Calvin Ridley, Jay, I don't know if you saw the post where he basically said he needs to step away from the game to focus on himself. Nothing but love and respect for Calvin Ridley, man. You got to do what's best for you. You know, he's been playing football his whole entire life, and I can't imagine just the type of pressure that playing the game at that high of a level from college to high school to the NFL, you know, how that wanes on you. And he was in and out of the lineup the past couple of weeks, but he did make an announcement that he's stepping away. We don't know. We don't know if that's for 2 weeks. I don't know if he's ever going to play again. I don't know if it's for the rest of the season. Who knows? But most importantly, you got to take care of your mentals, man. You know, Marshawn Lynch said it best. Take care of your mentals. Take care of your chicken. That's your bread, your paper. And Calvin Ridley's got to get his headspace right. So nothing but love, shout out, prayers to him and anybody else out there. Sometimes you just need a break. You need to kick your feet up. You need to relax, have a drink, take a walk, work out, get a smoke, whatever it is that you need to do to relax, to just get back in your good mental state. Take some time to do that, man. Every day is a gift. Every day is a blessing. So just want to say shout out to Calvin Ridley. Do what you need to do, get better. We don't give a damn about any of this fantasy football stuff, man. Get yourself well. Oh, unfortunately for the New Orleans Saints, they lost their starting quarterback, Jameis Winston, torn ACL. Robert Tonyan, the starting tight end for the Green Bay Packers, lost him, torn ACL. And the Houston Texans are preparing to hold Deshaun Watson through the trade deadline. So they say. Another report dropped on Sunday that Watson, they have no plans to move him. We'll see how that goes. This past weekend, Tua didn't play particularly well. But all I'll say is that Dolphins team is bad from top to bottom. That thing just looks like a complete dumpster fire. And honestly, man, I don't know what Deshaun Watson does with that team. What are they? Honestly, what are they with Deshaun Watson? Are they better than the New England Patriots? I don't know. Are they better than the Bills? Hell no. So I just think that the problems in Miami are much, much greater than Tua Tagovailoa. So, Jay, any comments on the college slate, the Heisman, Jameis, Calvin Ridley, anything you want to touch on before we get into these NFL games?
No, not a whole lot, man. I just wanted to say that I'm appreciative of the day and times we're in right now, because you think about Calvin Ridley a couple years ago, like maybe even only 5 to 6 years ago, he would have been bashed by some of the mainstream media saying like, oh, you know, you got to be tough, you got to be a football player. But now in today's day and age, mental health is such at the forefront of what's going on that he's actually allowed to do this, and his team stinks, you know. And honestly, like, I'm a huge Calvin Ridley fan. I watch him almost every week. He hasn't looked like his head's been in it, you know, whether it's his head, whether it's his play. He just hasn't looked like the old Calvin Ridley. And so I'm happy to see him take some time for himself. And we already saw he took, I think, a week off a couple weeks ago. So, you know, he's stepping away again. Good for him. But the other thing about Jameis, we'll get into Jameis later, but he certainly didn't look like he was injured in the locker room after the game. But we'll save that. We'll save that when we get into that game. But other than that, man, for me, it's Caleb Williams. 6 touchdowns against Texas Tech. I think he's got a very small shot at the Heisman. Now, when I looked it up, he was, I still think, like 18-1. Still a heavy, long shot. But Oklahoma still undefeated, still could be in the playoff. That means you got a shot, to me, because it's Bryce Young, it's Kenneth Walker, Caleb Williams also undefeated. If he runs the table, he's got a better shot than maybe a C.J. Stroud. We'll see, though. We'll see, because Stroud has been playing out of his mind. A little inconsistent at the beginning of the game against Penn State, but closed well. Trevian Henderson is balling, so they're good to go at Ohio State.
That was a good game, man. Penn State came to play, and had they not had some – but that's the difference between a great team and a team that's trying to be great. It's those small moments, right? Sean Clifford trying to hang in the pocket, fumbles the ball, big man touchdown, scoop and score. But they played well. They played really well. They let Olave get behind him a couple of times. Trevian Henderson had to earn those yards. I think he had like 152 in that game, but it didn't come easy, man. I honestly, I think he's the best running back in college football. I know everybody loves Bijan Robinson. 1-for-1, I'm taking Trevian Henderson. He's outproducing Bijan at the same age, right? At a younger age as a true freshman. And he's doing it both on the ground and through the air. I believe he's faster. They're roughly around the same size. I think he's the best running back in college football, and he will be a Heisman favorite. Next year is going to be interesting because you're going to have Caleb Williams. You're going to have another round of Bijan Robinson, which he won't win it because Texas isn't going to be good enough to win it. Like, he just won't. You're going to have Trevian Henderson. I mean, this next year is going to be there are going to be some players ready to put on a damn show in college football. But for my money, best running back in college football, and I don't want to get too far ahead of my skis here. He's not Adrian, and I don't know, Jay, because at this point you were probably still like in 5th grade. But I remember Adrian Peterson's freshman season at Oklahoma vividly. And he probably should have won the Heisman as a freshman. Go look up, as I'm talking, look up Adrian Peterson's freshman numbers because I just want to hear it one more time. I'm not going to say he's the best freshman running back since Adrian Peterson because AP was just different, man. Like, coming out of Palestine at 6'2", 215 pounds, he was just a different cat his freshman season at Oklahoma. But Trevian Henderson is he's one of the best running backs since Adrian Peterson. However we want to slice that up, we can debate that on another show another day. But what were Adrian Peterson's freshman season stats at Oklahoma?
It's crazy because that was actually his best season. He had 339 carries for 1,925 yards and 15 touchdowns as a freshman. I don't even, by far his best season, which is crazy because he never had over 1,100 yards either in his junior year or his sophomore year. But his freshman year,
he got hurt. He got injured a little bit. I believe it was his sophomore season. I think maybe his sophomore and junior season. But yeah, his freshman season, he had damn near 2,000 rushes. He should have won the Heisman. I believe that was the one that went to, it was either Matt Leinart or Jason White, his teammate, got it that year. But
I think we talked about this before, and I believe it was Leinart because I believe it was USC, right?
Yeah,
it was USC who won it.
Oklahoma and USC met in the national championship game, and USC routed them. USC put it on Oklahoma. They shut down Jason White. They shut down Adrian Peterson. But that should have been Adrian Peterson's award. Like, that was the year. And when I look at running backs, the fact that he didn't win it and then Mark Ingram gets one, and just it's insane because that freshman season of AP was honestly it was just incredible. I just remember it like every weekend he was rushing for 200 yards in the Big 12. Just crazy time. But the NFL, we got a lot to get to. We had our 5 marquee matchups that we will touch on. Of those 5, 2 of them ended up being marquee. But let's get into Let's get into the Buffalo Bills. I want to talk about Buffalo and Miami. Josh Allen absolutely took over, man. 29 for 42, 249 yards, 2 touchdowns through the air, 8 carries, 55 yards, 1 touchdown on the ground. Looked like MVP version of Josh Allen. Just the game started slow, and then Josh Allen said, "The hell with this. I've got to take it over." He gets it done. We talked about Tua earlier, 205 yards, 1 interception. Miami just looked terrible. There was a play where they're discombobulated and Gesicki goes in motion. The ball snapped. It hits Gesicki. They're trying to pick it up. The other team, it's just bad. They're a bad football team, and I don't know what Deshaun Watson does. He's a better quarterback, but that team is broken. Something is not right. For them to be as good as they were last year, and we saw the ascension the year before that, and to just be terrible. And the worst part about it is they don't even have a first-round pick, so they're just bad for no damn reason. But the Buffalo Bills just absolutely beat down the Miami Dolphins. In my opinion, one of the more entertaining games of the night on the slate the entire weekend was San Francisco-Chicago. San Francisco wins 33-22, probably the most entertaining game of the day. Jimmy Garoppolo was balling 322 through the air. And then he also, Konami code Jimmy Garoppolo, we knew he had it in him. 5 carries, 2 touchdowns, 4 rushing yards. Jimmy G, it's like you watch that play, and every time he ran the ball in, all I could think about is, that's a Trey Lance play. Why was Trey Lance not in the game? Like, Kyle Shanahan doesn't want to play him for whatever reason. Oh, he's got an ankle injury. We're seeing practice videos. He looks just fine at practice. But Jimmy Garoppolo saved your fantasy day, 2 touchdowns on the ground, no turnovers through the air. Good job for Jimmy Garoppolo. Justin Fields, baby. Let's round of applause. Justin Fields is why you don't panic on rookie quarterbacks after a couple of weeks. I know people are down on him. Justin Fields, hey, to keep it fair, he hadn't played very well. He looked pretty damn bad up until yesterday. And what was the common denominator in his bad games? Matt Nagy. Who was absent yesterday for the Chicago Bears? Matt Nagy. And Justin Fields looks like the guy they drafted to be their franchise quarterback. Now, through the air, he's still a work in progress, man. He holds the ball. He's taking his reads. I think he took 4 sacks in this matchup, and that's what you're going to have to live with a quarterback that can extend the play. Only 175 passing yards, so the under, once again, on Justin Fields' passing yard totals. But you saw him rush for 103 yards, and probably the highlight of the weekend, that 4th down play where he scrambles right, stiff-arming guys, just insane athletic ability. You saw the fire, the passion. It was really fun to watch that matchup. Elijah Mitchell looks like the real deal. Those of you who spent up fab on him on the waiver wire in your seasonal fantasy leagues, he's the real deal. If you have him in Dynasty, we'll talk about this on another show. Jay, I don't know what side of the coin you fall on. Some people are like cash out and sell. I'm not trading him for less than a first-round pick. Like, I think he's going to be the running back of the future for San Francisco. Why on earth, after drafting 2 of those guys last year, will Kyle Shanahan turn back around in the draft and try to replace him? Elijah Mitchell's the guy. He's usurped Trey Sermon. When Raheem Mostert comes back, he'll be a nice complementary piece to Elijah Mitchell. But Mitchell, 137 rushing yards. It's crazy. We had all these rookies just going off. Justin Fields over 100 yards. Elijah Mitchell over 100 yards. Chuba Hubbard had 82 yards, and we'll talk about that matchup in a little bit. Deebo Samuel, 171 through the air on 6 receptions. Just absolute monster this season. And we were all too low on Deebo Samuel and way too high on Brandon Ayuk. Now, the Jets, oh my goodness, the Jets got a dub versus Cincinnati, comeback style, man, 31-34. Mike White, baby. Mike White, have yourself a damn day. Threw for over 400 yards, 3 touchdowns. He had 2 tip passes intercepted, but he got knocked out of the game. He comes back in. He's a handsome-looking young man. Mike White was balling for the Jets, man. Michael Carter was balling for the Jets. The second most yards in a quarterback debut ever, only behind Cam Newton. And I believe it was Cam Newton. Yeah, it was Cam Newton versus, it wasn't Atlanta, but I remember that first opening game by Cam Newton. I think he had like 500 yards or close to it. He was insane, incredible. But Mike White was balling. The Bengals just gave this one away, man. And Jamar Chase, he had another touchdown. Other than that, he did nothing. He should have had like 4 touchdowns. When I was watching the defensive assignment on Jamar Chase, they left Eccles. I don't know where he played at. I don't think he was drafted high, but they were leaving him man on man. No safety help on the wide side of the field. I would have kept throwing to him. I know Chase, I think he dropped like 2 of them. One of them he was held on. Jamar Chase probably should have 4 touchdowns this game. No BS. I don't know what the Jets were thinking. They got lucky playing him like that. And if whoever Cincinnati plays next week, if they play Jamar Chase like that, he's going to go off again. So, great win. The Jets out here beating teams they have no business beating. The Titans and the Bengals. That was a bad loss for Cincinnati. That was a terrible loss. Philadelphia blasted Detroit 44-6, and they only threw for 100. I almost said 103 yards, Jay. They only threw for 103. It was clear, dude. I believe it, man. Nick Sirianni wants no part of Jalen Hurts. Whether Jalen Hurts is good or bad, that's it. Like, we don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know if he's good or bad. What I do know is Nick Sirianni wants no part of Jalen Hurts. None. And they're not calling plays that are conducive to his play style. He's not going to be the quarterback next year. I 100% believe it. I think it's a mistake. I think they should build around him. I think they should build an offense that's conducive to his play style, but it's apparent They want no part of him, and they didn't even let him throw the ball this game. He did have 70-plus yards on the ground. I mean, their wide receivers combined for 4 catches on the game. I mean, DeMonta Smith, Jalen Reagor gets hurt, Quez Watkins, like it was just Dallas Goedert, a couple of other meaningless catches, and they got out of there with a dub, but that offense is bad. We got duped. The entire world got duped. We thought Kenneth Gainwell would have a big game. He was playing behind Jordan Howard and Boston Scott. I hate Philadelphia. Like I just don't like them. I don't like them as an NFC East rival, as a manager of players from their team for fantasy. I don't like them, man. I can't stand Philadelphia. What a shit show they are, man. Good grief. Seahawks blasted the Jags 31-7. Tyler Lockett went off 12 for 143. DK had 6 receptions. 2 of them went for touchdowns. Geno Smith looked competent. The Jaguars looked like the Jaguars. They lost James Robinson, and it seemed like once he went out, they couldn't do anything. Laviska Shenault, all you Laviska Shenault truthers out there, I would be trying to sell. He ain't like I'd be trying to get rid of him. Trevor Lawrence up and down once again, and the euphoria of Jacksonville in their first win was quickly dissipated as they got beat down by the Jags. Pitt-Cleveland was also a really good game. Pittsburgh 15, Cleveland 10. Big Ben actually looked pretty damn good. Najee with another 91 yards and a touchdown. Nick Chubb had 61 yards on the ground in his return. Baker Mayfield clearly is not 100%. Myles Garrett is awesome. And Odell Beckham Jr. probably needs to go. 1 target, 1 reception, dropped a couple of passes. It's just not working. I mean, wasting away. He's only 28 years old. Like, trade him. I doubt they do it. Trade deadline's tomorrow. But get Odell Beckham Jr. out of there. Jarvis Landry fumbled the game away. He was dropping passes left and right. As a team that was supposed to be a heavy contender for the Super Bowl, the Browns are looking much like the Browns of the past. Just not a very good team. Not a very good team. Pittsburgh had no business winning that game, but they got it done. The Rams, 38-22, and the game was not nearly as close as it looks. I think they were up 31-0 going into like the mid-third, fourth quarter, and they pulled all their starters. Davis Mills threw a bunch of passes and got them to a respectable L. But the Rams did what the Rams should do. A Super Bowl contending team should go out there and stomp a mud hole in bad teams, and that's exactly what they did. Matt Stafford had 303 through 3 quarters. Cooper Kupp, 7 for 115 and a touchdown. Robert Woods got in the end zone. Darrell Henderson got in the end zone. Aaron Donald with sacks. Jalen Ramsey doing his thing. Brandon Cooks got deep late, but the Texans are bad. And the Rams did what good teams are supposed to do. They absolutely killed the Texans. It was not close, so there it is. The Washington football team, Denver Broncos game. I don't know if you watched this game. Denver literally did everything imaginable the last minute and 30 seconds of that game to give the ball away. All they need to do is run the ball out. First down, they run with Javonte Williams. He fumbles, they get it back, right? So the clock is ticking. Next play, Teddy Bridgewater rolls out, throws a damn incomplete pass, which stops the clock to give the Washington football team a chance to get the ball back. The very next play, Melvin Gordon gets the ball. He fumbles. The Washington football team picks it up. Now they got the ball. I'm watching it. Now all I can think about is that's how Dallas used to lose games like 2 years ago. They did everything imaginable to give that game to the football team, but Taylor Heineke is buns. The team is just not very good. They're just not good. Defensively, they're not as good as we thought. Denver pulls it off 17-10. And now we can get into our 5 marquee matchups. Let's go ahead and hit those breakfast and bets, man. Wake up!
This is Breakfast and Bets.
I had a little breakfast.
All right, so we had the Atlanta Falcons versus the Carolina Panthers as one of our marquee matchups of the weekend. It wasn't really like marquee-ish. It was actually pretty stank. You had both quarterbacks throwing for under 150 yards, both of them. Sam Darnold, 129, Matt Ryan, 146. Matt Ryan had 2 interceptions. Kyle Pitts did nothing. Cordero Patterson did nothing. I mean, he got in the end zone. Jay, did you watch any of this matchup? Because it was just, there was not as much fantasy goodness as we anticipated. It was actually pretty damn bad, this matchup right here. Did you watch any of this one?
Yeah, this one I did watch. It was one of our marquee matchups. The problem for us was we were choosing between Cleveland and Pittsburgh, and then this matchup, we thought, Calvin Ridley, Kyle Pitts, a little more star power, less defense. We weren't sure about the status of Baker Mayfield. Obviously, he didn't play well. Ben kind of held it together. But this game, I literally just wrote on the show sheet, this game was booty cheeks. It was awful. It was one of the worst games I've ever had the privilege of watching. It wasn't good. It's one of those ones where I think I watched it for about a quarter, flipped off, and then I was came back. I'm okay, still kind of close. I saw that one shot of Matt Ryan's hand, just the towel bloody as hell after he got stepped on. But other than that, this game was just awful. Kyle Pitts was being covered by Stephon Gilmore at the end of the game, and Gilmore ultimately got the game win. Kyle Pitts is not going to do dick all against Stephon Gilmore. There's just no way. As good as Kyle Pitts is, he is not ready for a Defensive Player of the Year. I don't care if Stephon Gilmore hasn't played in 16, 17 months. He's plenty good enough technique-wise, ability-wise, and more importantly, mental-wise to beat Kyle Pitts. Sam Darnold was terrible. Other than the fact that he did rush for 66 yards. But like we talked about Chuba Hubbard, we did like his anytime touchdown. We did like his yards. He hit both of those. But yeah, Darnold went way under. That wasn't really any surprise. And he got licked up at the end of the game trying to run the ball.
He got rocked, bro. I was watching that live. That's part of the reason why you don't want your quarterbacks running. He got smoked, man. So he had to leave the game. P.J. Walker comes in. But, yeah, Chuba Hubbard looked good, man. He fumbled the first carry of the game. He fumbled. And I was like, here we go. He's about to go in the doghouse. But he had 24 carries, 82 yards, and a touchdown. And when he scored that touchdown, you saw that burst. He looked like Oklahoma State Chuba Hubbard. And I've been saying, listen, this is a big opportunity for Chuba Hubbard to command some work even when Christian McCaffrey comes in. And the fact that they're giving him 24 carries, they're trusting him with the rock, I don't think he's going away. I don't think he's going to impact CMC to make Christian McCaffrey an RB2. I'm not saying any of that. But they're not about to just give CMC a million carries and receptions again. Chuba Hubbard's look good. He's somebody, when you're talking about these valuable handcuff running backs going in the midpoint of the season, trading for in Dynasty, picking up for your seasonal leagues for the playoff push, I think Chuba Hubbard's right up there with an A.J. Dillon, with the Tony Pollard, Alexander Madison. He's right there as a potential player who can win you a league, especially if you're getting 20-plus carries in a game, man. So, love what I saw from Chuba Hubbard. DJ Moore, man, listen, he's so good, but Carolina's just so bad, man. He's just, I'm just so pissed that I traded all these players to get DJ Moore in a league, and he's just not delivering, man. He starts off the season hot, and if something's wrong with, Sam Darnold's the best option for DJ Moore. PJ Walker ain't it. Here we go with DJ Moore again. You know what I'm saying, man? Here we go again. Matt Ryan is over-under was 280.5 and then 2.5 touchdowns. We didn't really like that, and he didn't even get close to it, right? He was terrible. Didn't help that Calvin Ridley didn't play, and with Kyle Pitts being shadowed by Stephon Gilmore, he just couldn't do anything. It's just a bad game, man. Bad game, and once again, Calvin Ridley, shout out and prayers to him. Hope everything is well on his end. But this was not a marquee matchup. We were wrong. Not a marquee matchup at all. Now, we had the Indianapolis Colts, Tennessee Titans, that was a good game. A good game. The running back Derrick Henry got tons of volume, didn't get a bunch of yards. Jonathan Taylor got no volume, and he does what Jonathan Taylor does even with no volume. The fact that did he have 14 carries? It just blows my mind. I don't understand. 16 carries. Just again, maybe the theory is they're saving him for the playoffs. That's all I can get to. Ryan Tannehill threw 2 picks in the first half, and then threw also 2 touchdowns in the first half. He got A.J. Brown down the field deep on one play, and let's talk about A.J. Brown because he did have a game, right? 10 receptions, 155 yards, and 1 touchdown. A.J. Brown starting to play like that Dynasty wide receiver 1, the best dude in the league, man. He looked fantastic. He's big. He's fast. Derrick Henry, we talked about him, 28 carries, only 68 yards. He had left the game for a little bit, looked like an ankle injury, but he's back. He was fine. But A.J. Brown was a beast. And Stone in the comments says, DJ Moore, unrestricted free agent in 2023. All right, DJ Moore, unrestricted free agent. Carson Wentz. Okay. Carson Wentz, I'm not going to lie. He may have thrown one of the worst pick sixes I've ever seen. Ever. Like, he, too, tried to give the game away the fourth quarter. Overtime, he did give it away. But they're backed up their side of the end zone. Again, Jonathan Taylor, maybe you should just run it, play conservative. He drops back. It looks like he wants to throw a sidearm pass, and then he thinks about grounding it. But nope, he holds on to it. He's in his end zone, gets sacked, just literally just throws it. Elijah Molden comes, picks it, and takes one step, and he's in the end zone. And Carson Wentz is laying like he's in a coffin on the ground. Like, oh, my God, I can't believe I did that. Just horrible. It was a brutal play. Then they get the game to overtime, and he's got – go watch the replay, bro. Jonathan Taylor is wide asshole open in the middle of the field, right in front of him. Just check that. You check it to Jonathan Taylor, I promise you he picks up 26 yards on the play. No. Instead, he throws into triple coverage to Michael Pittman, who was not open, and that's picked off, and that was the game-sealing interception. Just bad Carson Wentz. Bad Carson Wentz. We said we liked him to throw an interception at plus 100. We got that. We like Jonathan Taylor's over 68.5 rushing yards. I think he got that. He got his receiving prop on the first play of the game. We like that as well. Michael Pittman Jr. has been fantastic, Jay. This second-year player out of USC who at times when I watched him on the field when Drake London was a freshman, I'm like, yo, this Drake London guy looks like Michael Pittman. He can be like this level of good. And Drake London was pacing to be even better than Michael Pittman ever was at USC. But he's having a second-year breakout for the ages. 68, another 86 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. He's a target machine. He's the alpha. T.Y. Hilton took a really bad hit. There was a report that came out that T.Y. Hilton was already considering retirement. He had neck surgery in the offseason. This was a head and neck injury. Prayers up to T.Y. Hilton. If we see him again, I'm not sure, man. But Michael Pittman Jr. is the truth, bro. Anything that you've got from this game?
Not much, man. The big thing, obviously, Pittman, 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. That was dope to see. Jonathan Taylor, so he hit his over by 2 yards. He hit his carry over by 1 yard, and he was second on the team in receiving with 52 receiving yards. They need to get Taylor the ball more. I know we talk about conserving him for a later time down the line. I don't know, but they need to give him the ball. Like when Carson Wentz isn't throwing to Michael Pittman, he's not throwing to anybody. He'd rather throw in a double coverage, triple coverage to Michael Pittman than he would to Mo Alley Cox or to Jack Doyle or to Jonathan Taylor. It's just really strange, and I can't really put to it, but Wentz was terrible. He was just god-awful again, but this is why you bet Wentz to throw interceptions, because 2 weeks in a row now, he just makes the stupidest play you've ever seen because he refuses to throw it into the ground. He refuses to throw it somewhere else. He has to do the stupidest thing possible, and he throws it right into a defender's hands. But outside of that, man, I want to say that Tannehill played great. He started off really, really bad, but he got it together, rallied that team, and I think he played well. I know you're kind of shaking your head there, but other side of those 2 picks, when he got rolling, second quarter beyond, he was fantastic. He was great in overtime. I liked what I saw from Tannehill. And now, we'll see what happens in the AFC. The Titans are really good. They're actually first in the AFC right now. It's funny because the Bengals, who were first in the AFC, lost to the Jets. And now the Titans are first in the AFC at 6-2. The Bills are 5-2. Raiders are 5-2. Only team 6-2 are the Titans. The Colts are 3-5. The Jaguars 1-6. Texans 1-7. So Titans have a stranglehold on that division and potentially a stranglehold on the AFC. But I thought they played really well, man. It was a good game, though. Really excited about it. And it went way over, which happy to see that. A lot of points in that game.
All right, the Chargers and the Patriots. The Patriots beat the Chargers. Chargers were favored by 5 in New England, took them down. And, Jay, did anybody on this show call that and get ridiculed for it? Did anybody call that?
You did. You did call it. You said, I'm smelling an upset. So I have to give you credit for that. You did call the upset.
Yep, 27-24. The game was
boring.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad game. It was just boring. Justin Herbert, we called the under on that, on his passing yards at 291. We didn't like that versus Bill Belichick. He did have 2 touchdowns, also threw 2 picks, one of them being a pick 6. Miscommunication with Jared Cook. Called the under. He went under his rushing yard props as well. Keenan Allen, 6 for 11, 77 yards and a touchdown. The Mike Williams hype may be gone. He may be back to the normal Mike Williams. Hope you sold in Dynasty. Hope you cashed out when he was playing like wide receiver 3 on the season. He's just Mike Williams, man. Austin Eckler, 64 yards and a touchdown, also 6 catches, 60 yards. So very good fantasy day for Austin Eckler. Mack Jones, he went under his 250 and a half passing yards on Prize Picks. He had struggled in this one, man. At one point, he was 9 for 23, and then finishes 18 for 35, 218 yards. They had plays called back left and right all day. I mean, Damian Harris finishes with 23 carries, 80 yards, and a touchdown. I think there was a stat that he left. There were like 58 yards called back on Damian Harris and a touchdown. So he easily could have been over 130 and 2 touchdowns had it not been for a couple of unnecessary holding calls. Jacoby Myers gets in the end zone on a 2-point conversion. We thought Jacoby Myers would potentially score. He got in the end zone on a 2-point conversion. Mack Jones made a couple of good throws in this matchup. It was just a boring game. It wasn't a bad game. Just a little boring, and maybe we anointed Justin Herbert, the second coming of Patrick Mahomes, a little too early. Still really good, but if you're asking me right now, I still think Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL. I think Josh Allen is playing the best quarterback in the NFL, but Jay, right now, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Dak Prescott, Lamar Jackson, all over Justin Herbert. Would you take them?
That's tough. I think I still like Herbert, but I think I like him over Lamar. I don't think I like him over Allen or Mahomes. I still have Mahomes as 1. I'd probably put Allen as 2. I'd probably put Herbert 3, and then probably Lamar probably at 4.
See, I got Dak though.
I got Dak.
I got Dak at 3, man. I think it's Mahomes, Allen's Dak, Mahomes, Allen, Dak, Lamar for me. Lamar Jackson. I think he's incredible. Probably Herbert, then Kyler Murray. That's just where I would have those guys, but they're all tier one quarterbacks in the NFL, in my opinion. All right, let's talk about the Saints versus Tampa Bay. And we talked about Jameis Winston being carted off the field with an ACL injury. The Saints defense was spectacular in this one. That was the big story in this one was that Saints defense. And Jay, I think we got a little graphic about that defense, man. The Saints defense, 3 sacks, 2 interceptions, and a fumble. And you see Jameis Winston out there
with the
on crutches. I mean, look on a torn ACL doing is this Fortnite dances? I don't know what's going. They got smoke. They're having a good time in New Orleans, man. But that defense was lights out, giving Tom Brady problems left and right. Tom Brady had 375 passing yards because he had to come back. They were down. I think they were down like 6-23 at one point in time. So the GOAT did his thing. 375, 4 touchdowns. Mike Evans versus Marshawn Lattimore. Outside of one catch, Lattimore had him locked up. I mean, he had 2 for 48 and a touchdown. I mean, he got Lattimore once, but other than that, you didn't hear his name called at all. Chris Godwin went off, 8 for 140 and a touchdown. Alvin Kamara, 61 rushing yards, and, the barely cashed the under. I think you had Kamara under 62.5. He had 61.5. So barely got that under. But Tom Brady, man, he threw the game-sealing interception. Hey, Tom Brady, I saw a stat during the game that throughout his career in Tampa Bay, he's got like 67 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, and he's like, I don't know, a whole bunch and a little bit of losses in his Tampa Bay career. But versus New Orleans, now he's like 1-4. He's got more interceptions than touchdowns. New Orleans just has his number. And they were winning and playing this game with Trevor Siemian, the third-string quarterback, because Taysom Hill was concussed. Apparently he's going to be back. I don't know if he's going to start. They may just roll out Trevor Siemian and try that again. But this was a bad loss for Tampa Bay. Leonard Fournette really didn't get a lot going. We didn't see any Ronald Jones. Mike Evans bottled up. And, just a bad loss for Tampa Bay. And if you're asking me right now, Jay, I think the best teams in the NFC, if I had to rank them, it would be the Rams, and it would be my Dallas Cowboys at 2, followed by Tampa Bay. Did you watch any of this one?
Yeah, I was really tapped into this game, mainly because I wanted to see what happened. We talked about Marshawn versus Mike Evans. We love that matchup. And I think you're not giving Mike Evans enough credit. And I'm the first person to disparage Mike Evans. I'm not a big fan of his at all. But he did beat Lattimore deep, and it was Brady who missed him the first time. The second time he ended up getting him. But the first time he
was open. He was open. Well, Lattimore slipped.
Yeah.
Lattimore slipped. He slipped. I saw it. He slipped. The announcers even said he slipped. He slipped.
But yeah, so the biggest story is Brady. I believe it was 8 turnovers he has against the Saints in 4 games. So clearly he's terrible against the Saints. But this is a game that they play up for. You know, the Saints hate the Bucs. The Bucs hate the Saints.
Hate the Saints.
The Saints hate everybody. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, the one who took that video of Jameis Winston, he hates everybody. He's getting into fights with everybody. He actually got into a fight with Leonard Fournette after the game. I don't know if you saw that. That was crazy.
They scrapped after the game?
Yeah, like they scrapped after the C.J.
I had to get ready for it. That was trick or treat.
Crazy.
That was trick or treat time.
Crazy.
Hey, Dale, I hear you with the Packers. I think the Packers I just don't think the Packers could beat the Rams, and I don't think the Packers could beat the Cowboys. I like Green Bay. I think they are. I've got them. If I had to rank the NFC right now, it would be the Rams, the Cowboys, the Buccaneers, probably the Packers after that. The Packers at 4, so I'm showing love. I'm showing love to Green Bay, and then it would be Arizona. I still ain't believing in Arizona all the way, man. Not yet. And I know they're still, 7-1 on the season?
Well, to your point, there's 4 teams with only 1 loss. The Cowboys, the Cardinals, the Rams, and the Packers. So that's a tight race for number 1, even 1 to 4. But yeah, definitely Cardinals at 3. Cardinals at 4, Packers at 3 for me. I'd put the Cowboys at 1. I know you're not ready to do it yet. I think they're better than the Rams. I just do. Yeah. I think they're better than the Rams. The Rams have had some just terrible games this season. While Matthew Stafford is playing really well, we can get into the Cowboys next, but I just think that for this game, Tampa Bay showed they have too many weaknesses, and they may be able to shore it up by the end of the season, but they're definitely not in that top 2. It's the Rams, it's the Cowboys.
Hey, Dale, easy, Dale. I like you, but my love only goes so far. It has bounds, and you're getting real close to pushing it, brother. Yay, easy. All right, well, let's get into that game, because I have to say it, Jay. How about them Cowboys? Let's go, baby. Let's a game that we were not supposed to win. A game that nobody, not even you, sir, gave the Dallas Cowboys a chance to win. And damn it, we came through. And Cooper Rush, baby. Listen. I am not about to say that Cooper Rush is this great quarterback and all of this other stuff. But the way that this game started and the way that he finished, you can't do anything but give this young man props. This was his first NFL start, his first real action in an NFL game on the road versus the Minnesota Vikings. He goes 24 for 40, 325 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And what I have to say is this. This just shows me how different this Dallas Cowboys team is, how well coached, how well prepared this Cowboys team is. Kellen Moore called a masterful game. And I know for a lot of the game, Ezekiel Elliott wasn't finding a lot of room to run. You know, Minnesota was pretty much daring Dallas to throw the ball. And they bottled up Zeke. They had Tony Pollard bottled up. But when it was time to make a play, and there was a play in the fourth quarter where Zeke caught a pass to the outside, and he had to split 2 defenders to pick up the first down, which inevitably led to a touchdown. And he got this is a different team. What Denver did versus Washington is exactly what the Dallas Cowboys would do in the past and lose games. But Cooper Rush, finding, Cedric Wilson has been, Gallup is gone. I love Michael Gallup. He's gone. There's no need. We've got Amari Cooper. We have CeeDee Lamb. Cedric Wilson is a capable number 3 wide receiver. Dalton Schultz kind of bailed us out a couple of times with some really good blocking. He caught this tip pass that Biotish had hit. Dalton Schultz gets that. But this game was all about Kellen Moore. And in my opinion, the jersey that I'm wearing, Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons was all over the field last night. And I know a lot of people talk about Dallas should have taken Patrick Surtain. First of all, he wasn't available to us to take, but a lot of people were like, this team would be better with another cornerback outside of Trevian Diggs. I wholeheartedly disagree. Micah Parsons is going to make the Pro Bowl this year, and I don't even know if he has a position. Like, Dan Quinn just lets him off the leash. And I'm not even joking. I heard this yesterday. that they pretty much don't even, unless he's in coverage, they just tell him to play football. Like, he doesn't even have assignments. Like, he just goes out there and just, like, dog off a leash, go get the ball. He was all over the field last night. He's just an incredible player that changes this defense, and it allows Trevian Diggs to take some gambles because it wasn't good for him early on. Adam Thielen got him early in the game. Adam Thielen got him a little bit later in the game on a deep dig route. Diggs is boom bust, man. This is the first game in like 7 weeks. He hasn't had an interception. Got burnt a couple of times, but that's Diggs. Diggs is going to give up some plays, but he's also going to come through for you because he's got confidence in his skills. But, man, this Dallas team, Kellen Moore, Cooper Rush, game ball to Cooper Rush, CeeDee Lamb over 100 yards, showing that he's quarterback proof. Amari Cooper balling out, not even 100%. And that touchdown catch that he had in the end zone, just a thing of beauty. Listen, this team is good. This team is good. Say what you want about Dallas. Say what you want about the old teams. This is a new day in Dallas. And I am so impressed with this win because this is a game we shouldn't have won. Minnesota should have won this game at home versus the second and was cut at one point quarterback on this roster. Minnesota should be ashamed of themselves for losing this game, but I am very happy because this was just an incredible win inside the NFC for the Dallas Cowboys. What did you think about this matchup, Jay?
I was impressed. It played out exactly how I expected it to. Even before we knew that Dak was out, I thought the Cowboys could cover. I thought the defense was good enough. You talking about Micah Parsons, he had 10 solo tackles. He had 4 tackles for loss. The whole team only had 6. So, again, Micah Parsons doing what he does, basically doing it all for that Dallas defense. Amari Cooper over 100 yards. CeeDee Lamb over 100 yards. Cedric Wilson, obviously 84 yards. Cooper Rush lifted this team up. But this defense is playing way better than anyone ever expected it to. And we talked about that from week one. From week one, we were like, they allowed a lot of points, but they played a lot better than we expected them to, which is shocking because, again, Dan Quinn, terrible head coach, apparently great defensive coordinator. I know he's like known for his defense, but he certainly didn't show it in Atlanta. So for him to be doing this now in Dallas for a team that was dead last basically in defense last year, they added a few pieces. Trevian Diggs obviously took a big step up, but I don't know how he did it, but I got to give him a lot of credit. Like you talked about, Kellen Moore called a great game. Again, we'll see what happens, but the Dallas Cowboys, to me, they just look like the most complete team in football. I love the Rams. I love what they're doing, but Dallas, to me, is playing better defense on top of that. Like, I just don't think Dallas is allowing much of anything. They're forcing a lot of turnovers. They're just playing really, really well. But this is what Minnesota does. Minnesota gives away games that they should win. You thought, well, Kirk Cousins again, for the third week in a row, he had a chance to win at the end of the game. He's not playing the Carolina defense or a regular old defense. He's playing the Dallas Cowboys, and he couldn't get it done. And the Cowboys earned this win. Super happy for Cooper Rush, man. He played out of his mind. Kirk Cousins, 184 yards, 1 touchdown. Missing Justin Jefferson on out and ups. It's just, I don't know what the hell he was doing, but he didn't play very well. Thielen was the only one who really did much of anything. Conklin played well, but the Vikings are just bad, man. They're just not good enough. Some games they show up, some games they don't. That's why they're 3-4.
Yeah, I mean, and right now Dallas is still. They're 11-1 to win the Super Bowl, 13-1 to win the NFC. You don't want to take anything from the NFC East. 16-1 to get the number 1 seed in the NFC. So, still some pretty good numbers out there for the Dallas Cowboys, man. This was an impressive win. This is a game that I think Dallas would have been okay with losing because there's an out. We've got our backup quarterback, and it came out. I don't know if you saw the report that apparently this injury, Dak didn't just strain it, like he tore a calf. So there's a chance that we don't have Dak for the next 2 games. It's a 4 to 6 week injury. That's what I saw. It's only been 2 weeks, so I'm so glad they didn't play him. And this just gives Dallas even a larger buffer with their division lead. They're going to win the NFC East, and they're going to be a playoff team. But this was a hell of a win by Dallas. So impressed with this team, and it's just crazy how much Kellen Moore, a healthy Dak Prescott, and Micah Parsons has truly turned this team around. And let me not give all the credit to Parsons. Randy Gregory is playing like a Pro Bowler. I mean, I don't know what his season if you could pull up Randy Gregory's sacks for the season, this is why in 2015, if you guys remember, at Nebraska, it was projected that Randy Gregory was going to be like the number 1 pick. It was like him. I think he and Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota were all in the same class. We know Randy Gregory had some addiction issues to marijuana off the field, which caused his draft stock to slip, spend some time away from the game. He's dominant, and we're doing this without DeMarcus Lawrence. I mean, just it's incredible how good this team looks without Jalen Smith, with the addition of Micah Parsons and Randy Gregory. Just I can't dope for Randy Gregory. What are his numbers like this year?
He's got 5 sacks, 11 QB hits, and actually forced a fumble the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, he's been playing fantastic,
well.
man. Playing really well. We got a Monday night game. Got to get into real quick. Monday Night Football. The Giants versus the Chiefs. 2 bad football teams are going to face off tonight. The Chiefs are playing bad, but I don't think anybody thinks they're like really bad. Shit, they might be bad. Daniel Jones. I like this. Over 21.5 rushing yards for Daniel Jones. I will lock this in. Kansas City is terrible. Daniel Jones isn't good, and he's going to probably want to run the ball to move around a little bit. We also have Tyreek Hill over under 79.5 receiving yards. I mean, who's going to stop Tyreek Hill from the Giants? Bradbury? Highly doubt that, so this is probably a good bet. This is a get-right game for Kansas City. This is a get-right game. Prime time. They better get it done. They better get it done. And it will ultimately come down to Patrick Mahomes, over under 301 passing yards. I don't know, man. He should, but I'm inclined to take the under, but
he's going over.
He should go over, right? He should go over.
The Giants are allowing 48% of their deep passes to be completed for 4 touchdowns. Actually, so are the Chiefs, just at a lower percentage. Mahomes is completing 48% of deep passes. He has 4 touchdowns, 2 picks. That's why I like Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill's going to go deep, and I don't think anyone's going to be able to stop him in this game. Kelsey should have a big game. But again, as on top of that, the Giants should have no problem throwing the ball as well. Problem for me, I don't know who the hell he's going to throw to. Kadarius Toney is probably going to play, but we don't really know just yet. So for me, I'm cool with the rushing yards for Daniel Jones, but I do like the over for Mahomes. I like the over for Hill. And then Kelsey at 77.5 yards. I'm kind of iffy on that one, but he could probably get it too. But I like the over for Mahomes, man. I think he's got it.
Okay. Well, there it is. I think we're both picking Kansas City to win this matchup. Kansas City Chiefs get it done.
Yeah.
We'll talk about some other props. McCole Hardman over under 37.5 receiving yards. Doubtful. Travis Kelce, 6.5 receptions. Probably good for that. Patrick Mahomes, 19.5 rushing yards. After that hit he took, he may want to calm down on the running. But look, appreciate y'all tapping into the show today. World Series Game 6 heading into tomorrow, so we'll recap that. We didn't even talk about that, man. Houston, we're still in it. We're still in it, Jay. We're still hanging in there, baby. We're still hanging in there, baby. We'll do some mid-season power rankings. We'll figure out who the best teams are. We kind of already talked about that, so shit, we might have to change it up. But I appreciate y'all. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the show. Have a great Monday, and I think we're going to leave the show with some positivity. Let's watch Jameis Winston dancing again. There it is.
Yes,
Dance, Jameis, dance, Jameis, and we'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.